next 1 hour.
News360 Headlines is brought to you by Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal.
EcoBank, Nero Prime Water.
Minority in Parliament boycotts the vetting of 3 Supreme Court nominees after objecting to what it described as a compressed timetable for the process.
Also coming up tonight, High Court to begin Exim Bank trial of Bernard Nchubo-Isiako, also known as Chairman Wontumi, after plea bargaining talks with Attorney General fails to yield agreement.
And later in the bulletin, rabies claims 5 lives in Western and Western North regions as health authorities warn of rising dog bites amid low vaccination rate.
Later in business news, Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana calls for urgent action to tackle port congestion, security and digital disruptions.
On the international front, the World Health Organization says outbreak of the Bundibugyo strain of Ebola in Uganda is over, but it is not under control in neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo.
We have details of all these stories and many more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us.
Starting from the Western region and on health matters, because 5 people have reportedly died from rabies in the Western and Western North regions this year as health authorities raise alarm over a surge in dog bites and low vaccination coverage. Health authorities are warning residents that a dog bite should never be taken lightly.
2 of the 5 rabies-related deaths recorded in the Western and Western North regions in the first quarter of this year occurred in Wassa East, with 1 each in Jomoro and Amenfi East. Another death has been reported in Bibiani involving a victim from Diasu in the Central region. And now, 9 people, including children, are undergoing assessment after being bitten by a suspected rabid stray dog in the suburb of Sekendi. The incident has heightened fears among residents and health officials over the growing threat posed by unvaccinated and free-roaming dogs. Western Regional Director of the Veterinary Services Department, Dr. Simon Bene, says the situation is becoming alarming.
It is not all the cases that are reported, because some you cannot even decipher. And then 2, if you don't know that that person ever came into contact with a dog, it means that case is buried. And the unfortunate aspect is that once you are not able to know that this person is dying from rabies, it means all the contacts, including the medical professionals, are in danger. Just last week, in a suburb of Sekendi, 1 dog bit 9 people, just 1. And these are the 9 people that reported. It is possible some people have been bitten that we are not aware of.
The major concern for veterinary authorities is the extremely low level of animal vaccination in the 2 regions. Dog and cat populations are estimated at about 166,000, but current rabies vaccination coverage is below 5%. This is far below the recommended 70% coverage considered necessary to interrupt transmission among dogs.
As long as we fail to achieve that target, it means we will continue to fight the rabies menace. We want to appeal to especially donors to come to our aid.
Between 2015 and 2021, the estimated average annual dog bite rate was more than 78 per 100,000 people in the Western region and nearly 73 per 100,000 in Western North.
Away from the Western region, the High Court in Accra has scheduled the trial in the criminal case in which Bernard Nchuboisiako, also known as Chairman Wontumi, and 2 others have been accused of defrauding the Ghana Exports-Imports Bank. The court announced the failure of Mr. Nchuboisiako and the Attorney General to reach a plea agreement after granting an extension of time proposed by the accused for the parties to negotiate. Chairman Wontumi and the 2 others face charges including causing a financial loss of more than 30 million cedis to Exim Bank, obtaining funds under false pretenses for unexecuted farming project through Wontumi Farms Limited, and money laundering. Wontumi, who is currently serving a 20-year sentence in a separate illegal mining case, pleaded not guilty to the charges when the trial commenced.
In more news this evening, the 9th Parliament has been characterized by walkouts during vetting proceedings, with the minority mostly disagreeing on procedure and constitutional issues. The vetting of 5 nominees appointed by President John Mahama saw dramatic turnouts with heated exchanges that led to the walkout of the minority and held the entire process hostage for nearly an hour. Christian Yali wraps up the vetting in this report.
Process would begin, the minority had raised preliminary objections that NDC is unprincipled and they only choose convenience when it suits them.
The majority now wants all 5 nominees vetted, reported on, and approved before the House rises. We say no. NDC is an unprincipled political party. It does not believe in political principle. It is inconsistent and it acts out of political convenience.
Sooner than later, the vetting process began with the outgoing majority leader, who has been designated for the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. But there were striking things. One was on the National Cathedral project. He says it was a good idea, but badly executed.
If you are asking specifically about the National Cathedral that President Nana Akufo-Addo, when he was president, initiated, I also don't think there's any problem with the idea. I think it was a good idea that was badly executed.
Dr. Zaneto Ajman-Rawlings took a turn as the Minister-designate for Environment, Science and Technology. She says the styrofoam ban has been long overdue, but she also has a recommendation on how Ghana should adapt implementation of artificial intelligence.
The most crucial aspect is to ensure that we have the proper oversight, human oversight of artificial intelligence as we use it.
What was largely anticipated or expected was the vetting of the 3 Supreme Court Justice nominees. Minority Leader Alexander Fielmakin reiterated the point about how the process was being rushed. His claims were overruled and dismissed by the chairman.
I therefore consider all grounds of the minority leader as flimsy and hollow. I considered his objection to be frivolous, vexatious, unmeritorious, baseless on the facts, the rules, and the law.
And that yielded in exchanges between leadership.
I kept quiet on me. I didn't call on. I said the resolve.
Rule.
No, I didn't say rule. I said resolve. Don't get me wrong. No, resolve.
Honorable Minority Leader.
No, please.
Let your microphone be off.
No, Chairman, don't start your thing. Don't start it. And then finish and think you can control narrative. No, Majority Leader, take your time.
No, take your time.
Majority Leader, he's capable.
No, take your.
He doesn't need a lawyer.
Please.
Let him. This is it. Rule it. Open.
Take your
Open.
orders.
You people are taking this majority thing too far. You are my mate. I was called before you. I was called before you. You are my steady mate. And you know my law is unsoiled. So stop what you are doing.
It's very clear. Have you seen the order?
You know my law is unsoiled. You know, Eche. You know. Don't let politics, make you behave this way. I've read, he cannot rule.
The vetting process continued for all three nominees without the minority after they had walked out. Among the things he said, Justice Amoakwa Santi noted that persons who are detained in police custody beyond the 48 constitutional period can sue the police. His colleague, Justice Tony Forson, indicated that he disagrees with calls to cap justices on the Supreme Court bench.
Because of the jurisdictions which have been given to the Supreme Court, which is so wide, capping will bring a problem. So unless, as a country, we decide to reduce the jurisdictions which have been allocated to the Supreme Court, for now, there should be no cap.
Hi, Sophia Rosetta.
Justice Sophia Issa's appointment to the Supreme Court is one that makes interesting to note. Her vetting process went through seamlessly without much scrutiny or questioning. The appointment committee is expected to table 8 recommendations or report before the plenary on Friday, when the House is expected to adjourn indefinitely yet again to resume the recess period. Christian Yali, TV3 News, Parliament.
And away from Parliament, the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference says illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey, appears to have been institutionalized as a means of creating employment for people. Speaking during the engagement with Parliament's Committee on Chieftaincy, Culture and Religious Affairs, the President of the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Most Reverend Matthew Jemfi, called for decisive action to end illegal mining.
Illegal mining still ongoing, unfortunately, sadly, dangerously. Youth unemployment, environmental degradation, and we call for responsible and decisive action. We are destroying God's creation. And who is doing it? We know chiefs, which you represent, some of them are involved. As I'm speaking, this morning, we have a letter from an MP who is fighting with some MC over galamsey. And he has written the letter to the Ghana Catholic Bishops' Conference, who he believes we talk about these matters. So he's giving us these things. So there are clear evidences that chiefs, politicians, some members of parliament, some MCs, some of these involved in this. And now you do not know, it appears that is even formalized as a way of giving employment to people. But if we really do the cost-benefit analysis, we see we are on the losing side greatly. And our chiefs and our members of parliament, etc., can do something. But if we who are supposed to protect are the ones who are doing it, then may God bless.
In more news this evening, President John Mahama has commended the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority and the Ghana Airport Company for taking a firm stance against the practice of soliciting tips from passengers and visitors at the Accra International Airport. He notes that the conduct tarnishes Ghana's image and undermines efforts to deliver a professional and welcoming experience for travelers. The president made the remark at the sword-cutting ceremony for the multi-purpose, multi-tiered car park and airport hotel complex at the Accra International Airport.
The property will feature 2 hotels, a pedestrian connector to the terminal, more than 2,000 car park bays, a shopping mall with a food court, retail and office spaces, as well as a sky lounge and sky observatory for aircraft viewing. The president noted that the passenger traffic through the Accra International Airport had risen from 1.8 million in 2022 to 2.5 million in 2025.
Indeed, this development will consolidate the Accra International Airport's operation as a true 24-hour facility. Technology will be central to this project. The parking system will incorporate automatic number plate recognition. The parking lot will be cashless and ticketless. Parking guidance systems will be available. Electric vehicle charging points will be available, so if you're using an EV, you can charge it. And there'll be a centralized CCTV surveillance system that can observe everything that is happening in the parking lot,
placing significant pressure on parking facilities, airport roads, and passenger pickup and drop-off areas. The new development at the airport are all without government financing.
The government of Ghana has not given any of the two institutions one single cedi for these projects. I wish to commend the Minister of Transport and all those associated with this project. This is what we want to see. Develop our country, but don't go to Atufosin and ask for money.
President Mahama also says he is pleased that the Ghana Airports Company Limited, the Civil Aviation Authority, and other institutions operating at the airport are taking a tough stance against soliciting and begging visitors for tips.
The welcome at immigration, the efficiency of baggage handling, the cleanliness of our facilities, the management of traffic, and the courtesy of service providers all shape the visitors' first and last impressions of our country. We must therefore cultivate a culture of professionalism, discipline, and hospitality across the aviation value chain. I'm happy that the Ghana Airport Company Limited and the Civil Aviation Limited and other institutions working at the airport are taking a tough stance against soliciting and begging visitors for tips. It reflects very badly on our country.
To some other stories, and once touted as one of Ghana's major affordable housing projects, the Saglemi housing project has endured years of neglect, vandalism and abandonment. But after years of waiting, work has returned to the site, bringing with it renewed hope that the long-delayed project could finally serve its intended project and its purpose. And Joseph Armstrong Gold Alogbe was at the site and reports.
For years, these buildings stood almost forgotten, overgrown by weeds and exposed to the elements. What was once envisioned as a modern housing community gradually lost its appeal. But today, there are signs of a new beginning. The return of a contractor to the Saglemi housing project has brought activity back to the site, with efforts underway to clear the overgrown vegetation, rehabilitate structures, and restore the sprawling development.
The silence that once defined the Saglemi housing project is now giving way to sound of construction, with heavy equipment and workers moving to sites. Right at the entrance, the name has already changed from Saglemi housing project to Saglemi City.
From the signpost leading into the housing project, the scale of development is immediately evident. A network of access routes runs through the community, with almost all the major routes already asphalted. And along the shoulders of these routes, trees have been planted as part of efforts to give the community a more attractive outlook. During our visit, work was also underway on a client service post, which is expected to provide support for prospective occupants and clients of the development. Some of the apartments, including 2-bedroom attached and detached units, as well as a 3-bedroom attached and detached unit, have either been completed or at various stages of readiness for occupation. But the contrast between the renovated structures and those yet to receive attention tells another part of the Saglemi story. A walk through some of the older sections reveals the extent of the damage caused by years of neglect. Rusted sinks, faded paintwork, Exposed electrical points and missing cables are visible reminders of a project that remained unattended for far too long. The damage is not limited to the interiors. More than 230 concrete covers protecting the underground drainage system were reportedly stolen during the years of abandonment. Meter cables and electrical wiring were also removed, while virtually all the window frames in some sections were stripped away. The losses have not been confined to removable items. At the luxury apartment section, the condition of several buildings has deteriorated to the point where rehabilitation is no longer considered viable. Of the 41-story luxury buildings assessed, only 10 have reportedly been considered suitable for renovation. The remaining structures are said to have lost their structural integrity and will have to be pulled down. The demolition of these structures means additional work and additional cost before the development can fully regain the form for which it was originally conceived. Yet, despite the damage and the cost of restoring what years of neglect took away, there are visible signs of progress. The weeds that once swallowed parts of the housing projects are gradually being cleared. Freshly worked on buildings now stand in sharp contrast to the neglected structures nearby. And for some of the completed apartments, the long-awaited moment of occupation appears to be drawing closer. This is perhaps the clearest sign that Saglemi is slowly coming back to life. Where weeds once dominated the landscape, workers are now moving around the site. Where buildings once stood neglected, some apartments are being restored. And where there was uncertainty, there is now renewed expectation. The expectation received another boost following President Mohammed's recent visit to the project. His indication that about 700 housing units could be ready by March 2027 has raised hope among prospective homeowners and stakeholders who have watched the project for years. But for many, the ultimate measure of success will not simply be the clearing of weeds or the renovation of individual buildings. It will be the day the entire project is completed, services are restored, and the houses are finally handed over to buyers and occupants. Joseph Armstrong, Good Alibi TV3, Saglemi.
Let's turn our attention to education now, and more than 300,000 pre-tertiary teachers are set to withdraw their services from Monday, August 31, in protest over delays in placing promoted teachers on the appropriate salary scale. The leadership of the unions addressed the media in Accra, accusing the Ghana Education Service and the Comptroller and Accountant General's Department of failing to resolve the issue.
According to the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, and the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana, PRETAG, their inquiries have revealed that the Comptroller and Accountant General's Department is demanding additional documentation from affected teachers before they can be placed on the new salary scale. General Secretary of NAT, Thomas Tanko Musa, has given the authorities until August 31 to resolve the matter, warning that failure to do so could lead to further disruption in the education sector.
And His Excellency, please, we are coming to Jubilee House this particular afternoon. Call the agency heads to order, with all due respect, Your Excellency, so that by Monday, 31st of August, the teachers in Ghana should be placed on their respective grades and scales where they have been promoted to.
President of the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana, PRETAC, Kenali Awudu, says the unions will not back down from their intended action until all affected teachers are placed on the appropriate salary scale.
The Comptroller is an agency under the Ministry of Finance, and the GES an agency under the Ministry of Education. Both the Minister for Finance and the Minister for Education are all cabinet ministers. And the two agencies, by law, none is higher than the other. So the Comptroller is not higher than our Director General, and therefore cannot toss our Director General around. But as I said, those are government matters. For us, all we want is that at the end of August, the teachers must be put on payroll.
President of NAGRAT, Jacob Anaba, has expressed concern that issues affecting teachers continue to be relegated, calling for urgent action from the relevant authorities.
Even the teachers that we have will lack teachers in certain
areas of our country, we lack teachers. So many. So the numbers, we have not gotten there yet. Promotion shouldn't be an issue at all. So 31st, if we don't hear anything, then they shouldn't blame us.
The unions say the intended withdrawal of services will remain in place until the affected teachers receive their rightful salary placements.
In more news tonight, Ghana's poultry sector is set to receive a $270 million boost in investments while creating more than 1,000 direct and indirect jobs in rural communities across the country. The initiative by the 24-Hour Economy Authority, which is making foreign and domestic capital available to farmers, aims at reducing the country's dependence on imported chicken while strengthening the local agricultural value chain.
In 2025, Ghana imported chicken worth 2.84 billion cedis, accounting for up to 7.8% of the country's total food imports. According to experts, the recurring dependence on imported chicken highlights the significant market opportunity for local poultry production and the need for strategic investments to grow the sector. But with access to funding remaining a major challenge to agricultural development, the 24-Hour Economy Authority says funding has now been secured. The presidential advisor on the 24-Hour Economy, Guzi Tano, says the new investment is designed to address the structural challenges limiting local poultry production.
This investment will create at least 12,000 jobs, indirect and induced. At stage one, it targets 20,000 tons of dressed and processed broiler products per year, scaling towards 50,000 tons at full build-out. On completion, this will stand as one of the largest UK agri-food investments in Ghana has received in recent times.
For the CEO of Agrium Capital, Rod Bassett, the investment will also stimulate economic activity in rural communities.
Our approach is one of collaboration. We cannot do these scale and type of projects alone as private sector. It requires engagement with secretariats such as the 24-Hour Economy, the Government of Ghana, the various agencies of Ghana, but more importantly, strategic, sovereign and institutional investment partners who share the vision and purpose of what we're trying to do.
The ultimate goal is to build a competitive poultry industry capable of meeting domestic demand, creating jobs and eventually competing in export markets.
Still watching News 360 on TV3. Well, let's let you know what's going to be happening to the weather for the next 12 hours. And thunderstorms or rain of varying intensities are expected over the northern sector as well as parts of the transition portions of the country this evening into the night hours. Here are the figures for the next few hours.
Weather News segment is brought to you by Syntex Tank.
bargain print.
July 2026, Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana (IEAG) reaffirmed its support for trade reforms, including the Republican AI trade solution, but stressed that challenges need to be addressed. This, the Executive Secretary of the Association, Samson Asaki Awingobet, noted will help strengthen investor confidence.
We believe that its success, as well as the broader objectives of Ghana trade reform, must be complemented by efficient port infrastructure, reliable digital systems, and enhanced security and effective stakeholders engagement. We therefore call on the relevant authorities to urgently address the challenges of container congestion, port security, and digital services disruption.
The association further called for continued collaboration between government and stakeholders to build competitive, secure and transparent ports that supports Ghana's economic development.
We want to call on the Commissioner of Customs that we cannot use 9 hours on one container at MPS. It is not good for this modern port that we are having there. We believe that at least they should reduce the time spent on one container inspection, especially at MPS. That's where the complaints are coming. 9 hours is unacceptable. If MPS doesn't have the platforms, please, those containers should go to Golden Jubilee or refer containers of the Ghana Port and Harbour Authority for swift clearance process.
In more news tonight, Ghana's building cost inflation rose to 4% in July 2026, up from 3.1% in June, driven largely by higher prices of construction materials and a sharp increase in plant and equipment costs. This was contained in the Ghana Statistical Service July 2026 Prime Building Cost Index.
Data from the Ghana Statistical Service's July Prime Building Cost Index shows that the index increased to 138.3 in July from 133 a year earlier, representing a 0.3% increase between June and July. Materials remained the biggest driver, recording 5.1% year-on-year inflation, up from 3.9% in June. The category accounts for 76.5% of the index basket and contributed 97.3% of the upward pressure on overall building cost inflation. Plant and equipment costs also recorded a sharp increase, with inflation accelerating to 18% from 16% in June. However, labor costs continued to ease, declining by 3.2% over the year. The Statistical Service says, despite the July increase, building cost inflation remains well below the 14.2% recorded in July 2025, indicating a significant moderation in construction cost pressures. It is advising households and businesses to update construction budgets using current market prices and compare supplier quotations, while government is encouraged to monitor plant and installation costs and strengthen local supply chains.
Let's now check out how the cedi is faring against other trading currencies and how some of our key commodities are faring on the global market.
And that's it for Business Tonight on News 360. I am Menu Alf. We have more news updates for you as usual. Stay with us.
at that last line where we have to sign papers and formalize the relationship as to whether it will be Kurt, as to whether it will be Michael Otieje, as to whether it will be the guy who was a coach when Red Lions and Cropal Lions played centuries ago. I wouldn't be able to tell you today. But what I can say for a fact is that we have a machinery in place and we are working.
Still on Ketokreku, the GFA boss says that the Black Stars will go all out against Cote d'Ivoire in their opening game of the 2027 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. The game is set to be played at the Stade de Boaké on September 24.
They are a very good team. I think that it will be a very interesting game. What I also know is that Ghana showed a lot of organization at the last World Cup. We showed that we are improving, and we showed that we can compete at the highest level. I am again happy that going to the World Cup as the least ranked team in the World Cup, we came out of the World Cup as the 24th ranked team. Okay, that should tell you that Ghana has made progress or did make progress at the Mondial. And that psychological block of losing games, I think doesn't exist anymore within this team. And we'll go to Cote d'Ivoire in full confidence and it will be competitive.
To Nigeria, where Alhaji Ibrahim Gusau has formally resigned as the president of the Nigeria Football Federation, ending his tenure at the helm of the country's football administration. He did so on Thursday in Abuja during a press conference following weeks of intense scrutiny over Nigeria's disappointing results across various levels of international football. The resignation came as the NFF Congress held an emergency meeting to address the leadership crisis and to consider the future of the federation. Let's do some more here, where Europe's biggest teams land their opponents in the new Champions League season as the league phase draw took place on Thursday in Monaco. Paris Saint-Germain were handed meetings with Barcelona, Manchester City and Aston Villa among their 8 matches in the league phase. Arsenal will notably host Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund and Lille from France. Liverpool will be at home to Atletico Madrid in a feisty tie, while Manchester United come up against Bayern Munich in a repeat of the 1999 final. And so you can get some more details on our social media handles at 3sports. My name is Oreku Ampofu.
which went to Ghanaian teenager actor Idrisu Tonte Jr. Director Mate Ama thanked the festival for recognizing Ghanaian cinema, saying the wins are a major boost for West African stories.
The film had its world premiere on August 11 at Palace Cinema 1 in Locarno. The screening attracted a full house, with filmmakers, actors, producers, and other film professionals from around the world in attendance. Directed by Amate Ama, Igorich We All was selected for the Concorso Cineasti del Presente, Filmmakers of the Present category. The category provides a platform for new and exciting voices in world cinema. The feature film is based on Ame's 2018 short film Vagabonds, which he wrote and directed. The short film traveled to several international festivals before being developed into the feature-length Igorich We All.
The part of a change goes to Ego Reach We All by Amate Armar. Congratulations.
At the award ceremony, Amate Armar accepted the recognition with gratitude and dedicated the moment to everyone who contributed to the project.
And to the selection committee to trusting that this film would connect to the audiences of Locarno, to the jury. Thank you for restoring our faith in the power of cinema and honoring Ghana in this way. Everyone who has seen the film has given such wonderful feedback, and they've really made us believe in the power of cinema and West African stories.
He thanked producer Yemo Ike for his work in bringing the film to life.
To the cast who gave absolutely everything to bring this film to you, and to my super producer, my brother for life, my brother in arms, Yemo Ike. I'm very grateful to you.
The two awards at Locarno 79 mark a proud moment for Ghanaian cinema.
We have Amate again with us on stage. Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Now to some more stories. NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia described Grace Norte as a true trailblazer and cultural icon whose career brought joy to many and inspired generations of young creatives. The death of the legendary actress has sparked an outpouring of tributes from politicians, actors, media personalities, and fans across the country, with many celebrating her remarkable legacy.
Relax. If she comes back into this world again, she will never deal with anybody by name Nanaya. Yes. Ah, how can she compete with my daughter and always win?
Grace Norte reportedly passed away in the early hours of August 26, 2026 at the University of Ghana Medical Center, UGMC. Born on February 1, 1937, the celebrated actress enjoyed a career spanning more than 5 decades and became one of the most recognizable faces in Ghanaian theatre, television and film. NPP flag bearer Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia described Grace Norte as a trailblazer and cultural icon whose decades-long career brought joy to audiences and inspired generations, particularly young women in the creative arts. Minority leader Alexander Penyo-Markin also paid tribute to the lead actress, describing her as a remarkable thespian whose work made film meaningful and relatable. Reflecting on her influence on him as a young man, Penyo-Markin said Grace Norte often portrayed motherly figures and, in many ways, became a mother to audiences across the country. He used the occasion to call for greater recognition and support for Ghana's creative legends while they are still alive, stressing the importance of preserving their legacies for future generations. Actress Jackie Appiah also mourned Grace Norte, describing her as a woman who helped define acting in Ghana and mentored many people in the creative industry. According to Jackie, the late actress's work, creativity and impact gave many younger actors a reason to believe in their own abilities. Actress and media personality Amakia Bebrese also paid tribute, thanking Grace Norte for inspiring her and many others. Across social media, Fans and industry colleagues have continued to celebrate the veteran actress, remembering her not only for the memorable performances, but also for the influence she had on generations of Ghanaian entertainers.
How can she compete with my daughter and always win?
And may her soul rest in perfect peace. That's it for the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella Donko.
On the international front, the World Health Organization says the outbreak of the Bundibugyo strain of Ebola in Uganda is over, but it is not under control in neighboring DR Congo. The all clear for Uganda follows a declaration on July 28 from the government that it was free of the disease, which caused 20 cases and 2 deaths in the country.
Thank you very much for watching News 360. I am Martin Asiedu Dati.
And I am Portia Gabo. Good evening.